Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video of Marvel Contest of Champions. We are running today 7.1.2 Destructive Feedback and Overreach Fury. If you are not sure about the nodes, we will discuss them later in the video, so stay tuned for that. And also, there is a helpful node on this path for mutant champions. So if you're bringing any mutant champion that has concussion, bleed, or armor break, they get an extra fury. And top of it, if it's a 6-star, then they make very short work of this path. If you're gonna bring in non-mutant options, some good options are Ghost, Captain America Infinity War, and also Killmonger. Again, I am not gonna use Ghost or Quake for these paths, as they are high skill based champions as requested by my subscribers. I'll be using other champions. Also, your boss is going to be a Venom. He has Chitinous Thorns and also no hit mercy. He gets 300% critical rating once he is knocked down. So again, for him we will discuss more in detail once we get into the fight. Before we jump into the path, guys, make sure to like the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. All of that really helps me out a lot and helps me keep doing these videos. My team for the path is going to be a Wasp. She's going to be synergy for Captain America Infinity War. And then there's going to be a Killmonger, Venom, and a Wolverine. Now the first fight is against a Daredevil Hell's Kitchen. Now he's a little annoying because he will shrug off your stuns and everything. So there are two ways to deal with destructive feedback. Now if you're unsure about destructive feedback, it's like a shield on an opponent, and it starts with a yellow cooldown timer on the top right side of the HP bar. Now until that is yellow, any damage you apply on the opponent, any kind of damage, he's gonna absorb it. And if he makes contact with you, even a parry during that yellow timer, he's gonna reflect all of it back onto you. Now the best way to avoid, I have two different ways, is either you can just, without hitting him, you can parry the whole phase out. So if you don't hit him anything, he has no damage to absorb and no damage to return. Or another one is, I like to keep pushing them to special ones and they can bait it out. The third way is to just keep hitting them in their blocks, keep driving them in a corner, and in that meanwhile the timer just passes away. Or you can keep dexing back. It's all about your timings with that. It's not a difficult node, it's how you play around it. As you will notice right now, it's on cooldown, it's grayed out, I'm hitting him and he's taking damage. With his special one, he has 7 hits. To make sure that you count them, the first animation has 4 and the second animation has 3. So yeah, make sure you don't get hit by them, especially on this node. So right here again, as you see, I used my special, wasted some of the time, and then his shield blew and he took the damage again. And again I'm going back in. That's pretty much how you deal with the destructive feedback. You don't have to have the best champions like Quake or Ghost. You can easily just play around it. I hope that made sense. Next up is going to be an invisible woman. Now she is a bit difficult fight, probably the most annoying fight in the section, and you might lose a champion on. Now I would suggest you to strictly just parry her destructive feedback phase and only hit her during the active cooldown, because she gets a little tricky with her invisibility and you might miss a hit and she will retaliate. I am using a Killmonger just to show you a different option. If anybody of you have a Killmonger champion, he is amazing against destructive feedback, because whenever he uses SP2, he gets 3 indestructible charges, and even though you get hit by the defender during destructive feedback mode, you won't take any damage because the indestructible charges on Killmonger will absorb it for you. So once you have that down, you just need to take care about the invisibility right there. As you saw, I had 3 indestructible charges, but I made it through easily without taking any damage. So he's the perfect counter for invisible woman. You can also take Ghost here because she cannot miss on her first medium. You can also take Quake here. Those are the best options. If not, you can also bring in Human Torch. So there's quite a few options you can bring in for. It's just a patient fight. Try not to hit her during her destructive feedback phase if you don't have much practice against this node, and just hit him during the cooldown, and it's a simple and straightforward fight. Special mention to Falcon for this fight. You can easily use him for this fight whenever the destructive feedback node is active. When it's yellow, you can stay behind and you keep your red wing on cooldown, and by the time the destructive feedback goes on cooldown, you can activate your red wing and lock on onto her, and you can easily bring her down. I hope that helps. So once you have invisible woman down, the hard part of the path is done. Now it's all easy. Again, the next fight is against a Massacre. For him, again, make sure that you stay away during his cooldown phase, or like me, you can hit him in his block and waste his time, and as soon as he goes into cooldown, you can start hitting him. It's all about playing around the destructive feedback. So yeah, just right here, I'm gonna wait for him for his L1 to finish, and I'm going back in. Now again, I'm hitting him. Now the key point here that I have pushed him to an SP1 and he's going to use an SP1 again. Again, I'm going to bait out his SP1 and in the meanwhile waste his time. And again, I'm open to hit him again. So you can use this technique and you can also start hitting him in his block. So all of that helps you. Just don't use a parry when he's in active destructive feedback mode. And the most obvious, don't push him to an SP2 because that is really hard to evade and has a lot of damage. And if you combine that damage with the no destructive feedback, you're probably gonna die in one SP2. So always keep him to just SP1. He might get a little annoying by not letting it out, but keep baiting and you will kill him very easily. I say that and I just pushed him to an SP2 myself because I just got hit. I wasn't able to block, but then don't make the same mistake I'm making and it would be a pretty simple and straightforward fight, guys. Next up is going to be a Dr. Voodoo. Again, he's a simple one. What you will see with Captain America Infinity War, I will just block out his destructive feedback phase and I will just only hit him in his active cooldown. Now one thing you need to make sure that you don't get hit by Dr. Voodoo, especially on an odd combo, because if you get hit and he uses his special one, which eventually he will put his sig ability, that is Brother Daniel, on you. And once he has Brother Daniel on you, it's very hard to shrug it off because you will have to make sure you get hit again with 2 hits in an even combo and then he uses SP1. And when you have Brother Daniel on you, all of your ability accuracy is reduced by 50%, so you won't be able to parry at times and the fight will become more difficult or annoying than it has to be. So try not to get hit and just try to bring him down as soon as possible. And yeah, that's the only tricky part about this fight. And apart from that, his specials are very easy to evade and it's a simple quick fight. With Captain America Infinity War, I'm just gonna parry and heavy into L2. Going to be Daredevil OG. Now he is a very simple straightforward fight because of his SP1 and SP2 are easily evadable, and you can bring in a mutant champion, you will get a class advantage and also you will get extra damage because of the helpful node for mutant champions. And if you bring in a 6-star mutant, then you will get an extra damage for 6-star power. So a 6-star mutant champion would be amazing for this fight. All you need to do is to keep baiting him his SP1 and SP2 and just keep retaliating. And during his destructive feedback phase, you can stay away, or you can bait a special, go in, hit him again, push him to another SP1, and you can rinse and repeat. Even though it's a very simple and straightforward fight, I make a mistake. I gave him a lot of damage, and then by mistake I was trying to dex, but I parry him and I die. Make sure you check that out. And then I complete the fight with Captain America and Infinity War. So that will show you what mistakes that you usually make against a destructive feedback node that makes this path feel a bit harder. I hope that helps. Now the final fight is against a Spider-Verse champion, that is going to be Miles. I'm just going to bring in Venom because he cannot evade. You can also bring in Red Goblin, he will work as well. Nick Fury also will work here. And quite a few champions that can stop his evade. You can also use a Falcon. Once you have his evade down, then it's a simple fight. Just try again to play around with the destructive feedback node. I have quite some experience, that's why I keep hitting them in the destructive feedback, but I would suggest you to stay away so you can make this fight super easy. You will notice by the end of the fight I get hit by one of his SP1 projectile, and that gives me destructive feedback to me and I lose a lot of health, but I managed to bring him down. So this is the last fight in the path before the boss guy. So I hope all of this helps you navigate through this path. If not, you can always comment down on the video. I'm happy to answer your questions. If you took another strategy, let me know, and it would be great to discuss in the comments down below. Now the final boss is going to be a Venom. He is having chitinous stones on him, so whenever he has an armor up buff and you try to attack him, you'll get bleed 50% of his attack damage. So for every hit, if you do a 5-hit combo, you will get 5 bleeds and he will die very quickly. So the two best ways to deal with him is either you bring in heavy nullifiers who can nullify all of his buffs, because Venom gets extra buff of his sig ability. So if you can nullify his armor up buff, you can fight him as a normal champion. If not, bring in somebody who is bleed immune, so that would really help. But in my case, I brought in Morningstar, so she can not only nullify all the buffs by a special 2, but she is also bleed immune. So she is kind of the perfect counter. Other champions that you could use are Symbiote Supreme, Black Widow Clairvoyant, the new Ghost Rider, even Corvus Glaive would work as well. You can also use Captain America Infinity War with the Cosmic Synergy because that gives him the ability to armor break opponents on parry. And once you have that down, there is another helpful note, that is Foresight. So whenever you're able to intercept the boss, you get an extra fury. So whatever I try to do on this fight is I'm always trying to use a special 2 whenever I have Foresight, so he gets extra damage. Another note for this fight, make sure you always bait out L1 because this L2 can be really tricky. Only push him to an L2 if you're using a very tanky attacker. When I say tanky attacker, I mean somebody like Captain America Infinity War, Red Guardian, or anybody along the same lines, or somebody who has good perfect block. One final note on the boss fight, there is going to be another note, that is cutting wires. So make sure that when you bring in bleed immune, you do not bring a robotic champion because that would be a difficult fight and that would be a node working against them. So if you're going to bring a bleed immune, make sure to bring a non-robotic bleed immune so you can easily take care of this Venom boss. If you keep that in mind, guys, it's a very simple and straightforward fight. I hope all of these tips and all help you out. If they did, guys, make sure to like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. All of that really helps me out a lot. And apart from that, guys, I hope you all have an amazing day and I'll see you next time.